Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to Belfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's something you don't see on YouTube every day, is it? Last year I featured a coach company, Hannon Coach, between Glasgow and Belfast. And it was quite a cool little adventure. The bus leaves Glasgow, arrives in the Cairnryan, drives onto the ferry, takes you to Belfast into the city centre. If you haven't seen that video, there is a link below. I had quite a few comments at the time to say Citylink did the same thing. At the time I looked, and Citylink only offered a Glasgow to Belfast service, which was a coach from Glasgow to Cairnryan, and then as a foot passenger from Cairnryan to Belfast Stena terminal. It wasn't really a like for like. Anyway, about 5 weeks ago I was at the Glasgow Buchanan bus station and I saw a Citylink service and it had Belfast on the side, and I thought I must look into that again. And that's why I'm here in Belfast. I'm using the Citylink service from Belfast to Glasgow. Now, according to the confirmation, there are two buses involved. Number 924, which is operated by Ulsterbus between Belfast and Cairnryan, and 923, which is from Cairnryan to Glasgow. Now, the second part I get, that's part of the Stranraer to Glasgow service. The coach stops in Cairnryan for 15 minutes, waiting for ferry passengers, and then continues on its way. But 924, Ulsterbus, I don't get, because why would they pay for a bus to go on a ferry between Belfast and Cairnryan when you could be a foot passenger? The confirmation does show it is a bus all the way to Cairnryan. I guess we'll find out in around about 2 to 2.5 hours. Unfortunately, we can't get into the bus station at the moment because it's closed, because it is after all 4 AM. But that's worth mentioning. Hannon Coach used to drop people off and pick them up at the City Hall in Belfast. That's now changed to the Europabus Centre here. Hopefully it opens by 6 AM. Hopefully there's somewhere where there's selling hot coffee, because I am freezing, but I'll see you before departure. I was just speaking to a taxi driver and he told me that the Europabus Centre opens at 5 AM. So I've only got 1 hour and 20 minutes to wait until I can get into somewhere warm. Okay, I get it, all is clear. When you buy a Citylink ticket from Belfast to Glasgow, you're actually buying 3 separate components. The first one is Ulsterbus from the Europabus Centre to the ferry terminal. The second one is a foot passenger ticket to Cairnryan, and the third part is a Citylink passenger from Cairnryan to Glasgow. All very well if everything goes according to plan, but if your ferry is delayed by, let's say, an hour, do you really think Citylink will be waiting an hour at Cairnryan for you? That's not going to happen. But don't worry, there is a bus in another 4 hours. Whereas with Hannon Coach, for example, the coach is on the ferry. So if the ferry's delayed, the coach is delayed. I don't think I would ever do this again because it's just far too risky. Something could easily go pear-shaped. Right, let's go exploring and then I'm going to get some breakfast. I just thought of another inconvenience when using the Citylink service between Belfast and Glasgow. When you get to the Stena terminal at Belfast, you have to show someone your Citylink confirmation and they will then give you a boarding pass. You don't need a boarding pass when you're travelling on Hannon Coach because your bus is already on the ferry.
Are you on the 4 o'clock bus back, please?
Hey folks, thank you very much.
So what did I think of Citylink's fare between Belfast and Glasgow? I've thought long and hard about this, and I cannot find one single advantage over Hannon Coaches. The departures were very similar. They were about 20 minutes apart. The fares were very similar. I didn't like the confusion at the Europabus Centre when they gave us a double-decker bus covered with, I think it was Airport Express livery, taking us to a ferry terminal. That was silly. And the fact that the timetable has Citylink sitting at Cairnryan for 15 minutes, whereas Hannon Coach drives straight off and away. They were 5 miles up the road by the time we moved. Anyway, I spoke to the driver when I got off the bus here, and I asked him what happens if the ferry's delayed, and he says they will wait for the ferry up to about an hour and a half, which I thought was very generous, unless you're one of the poor customers who's boarded the bus in Stranraer. But anyway, would I do it again? No, there's absolutely no advantage. It would be Hannon Coach all the way. Anyway guys, thanks very much for coming along on this little adventure. It's opened my eyes. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you next time.